Hey, so this is Duncan Roofing.
My name is Pat. How are you today?
So,
What we're doing is looking at some different material choices. What I'm advising is to evaluate cost versus warranty to see where the value lies. And in this situation, it's about a $750 difference in price. Go from a 20-year to a 25-year system. In this case, about a $750 price spread. So I'm going to recommend the 25-year system in this case.
now I had a question on the warranty because the lady next door says mine's under warranty and this is the warranty. And so the guys came out there and looked at it and said it's fine. But yet I had a wind mitigation guy go out there and he said those pits should be filled, in that system. So what do you think
Let me
of that?
use that as item number 1 out of 4 items that are not included in this upfront number. I'm trying to figure out where to
Okay.
focus my eyes there.
Yeah.
There are 4 items that are not included. The first item is very, very questionable.
Okay.
When you describe there are pits in the roof, the way that
With the product that's there now.
yes, I am picturing deviations in the roof that will pool water.
Yeah, that's one, yeah.
Now, in the world of roofing, there is a difference between ponding water and standing water.
Yeah.
On any flat roof, we would expect standing water, a little residual after the rain. For that to be considered a problem, water would have to stay on that roof more than 48 hours after a rain.
Okay.
That's a pretty significant puddle. It is at least a half an inch deep.
Yeah.
The problem that any roofing contractor is faced with, we would literally have to be on the roof 48 hours after a rain to make this determination. So what we are advising you to do is pull the reins back a little bit here. Either wait until there is a heavy rain or create rain. Put a sprinkler up there. Soak the roof down and then check it 48 hours later. If the water has dissipated, evaporated, ignore item number 1 on the cost additions. Only if there is water there 48 hours later would we then advise for this to be corrected. The reason I'm cautious, this is an expensive process. What we would do is add a layer of material beneath the roof membrane. This material is a wedge-shaped product. So it measures 0 on the perimeter. It gets thicker and thicker and thicker as it comes to a crown towards the center. And it's simply adding additional pitch. This is what's known as a tapered system. If we can get a picture of the drawing here. I have 2 separate cost quotes here. One for the smaller area and one for the bigger area. To add a tapered system on the small portion would add $3,630. To add a tapered system on the bigger area would add $11,700.
And that's to add it at the beginning.
Yes, it has to be done prior to the installation of the roofing membrane.
Interesting.
The only way to justify numbers like this is if the problem actually exists. So we are advising to do an evaluation. I'm assuming there's like a maintenance group for this property.
Yes, but the roof is not covered under it, you see. That's the point.
I understand that they're not going to put the roof on, but they can help with the evaluation.
Yes.
Wait until there is a heavy, heavy rain
Yeah, got
and
it.
check it 48 hours later.
All right.
If the water has dissipated, evaporated within 48 hours, ignore number 1. You don't need it.
And number 1 is on
Right
here.
here.
There. Okay, on here.
I'm going to list it as not included. I got to remember my numbers. Excuse me. The coffee's not quite working for me yet.
Duncan Roofs.
And if you'll bear with me, I want to take a more detailed note here. I'm going to list this as only advised. So we have two separate cost additions for the two distinctly separate areas for what's known as tapered systems. Again, only advised if water remains 48 hours after rain.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm going to move to the second item that is not included in the upfront numbers. This is in relation to the air conditioning units that are on the roof deck.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Duncan Roofs is not an air conditioning contractor.
Right. They have to be moved.
You do not have to have these craned off of the roof. We can provide the manpower to move these around where we need to in order to roof up underneath there. We would ask that you have your air conditioning contractor disconnect the units. We move them where we need to. We will put them back in place, and your AC person will reconnect and power up the systems.
Makes sense.
One thing that you should be aware of, the building codes have changed regarding how an air conditioning unit is connected to the flat roof. They now require that they sit up on steel stands or pedestals. So that falls under the purview of the air conditioning contractor. They would disconnect the systems, install the stands. We flash or seal the stands into place. And then the AC is put back on. Okay. So on my list of not included items, I'm going to list an unknown dollar amount for removal and reinstallation of the solar systems, of the air conditioning systems by others.
Right.
The only
Joseph, I won't be long.
The only things Duncan Roofs would ask is to give us the appropriate contact information. We will coordinate all the timing issues. We will define what the separation of responsibilities are. The AC person would show up the morning of the job, disconnect, and they have the opportunity to leave and do whatever they need to do for the day. They come back at the end of the day to reconnect and power up.
Sounds good.
The next item, third thing that is not included in the upfront numbers, is replacement of rotted or damaged wood.
Yes.
Now, we have made an assumption here that this is a wood roof deck. Can you confirm that?
No, I can't. But I could confirm it with the association.
Let's do that. If it is what's known as gypsum or tectum or cement, any one of those three would require different connection. How this is all secured down to the roof deck, there's different types of connection there. We make an assumption that it's wood. If it's not wood, we would reserve the right to adjust our proposal to reflect a different connection method. I would not anticipate any significant price changes. Certainly less than 1,000, probably less than 500 on an expensive side, but we made the assumption of wood here. Okay. So if there's damaged wood, this will be replaced at our cost with no profit margin. We charge what we spent for wood, what we spent for labor, but no markup.
That's a general Duncan Roof
Policy, let's say.
policy,
Yes,
yeah.
that's what
Got
we
it.
do for every project. Regardless of whether it's wood or other materials, the same statement would apply.
Okay, thank you.
I'll list it here as wood replacement. I'm going to say time and material. What we spend for labor, what we spent for material, but no markup. The final item that's not included in the upfront numbers, currently $0 for what we call a seasonal adjustment. Though $0, I think it bears a little discussion. Basically what happens, in the middle of the summer, it is blazing hot outside. Though we pay our men the same amount per hour, the sun is stealing their energy. They don't get as much work done in that hour. As productivity drops, labor cost goes up. So what we do is subdivide the year. And based on the date that we receive a contract, we would add to the proposal value. The time slot we're in now, it's nice and cool. We have great productivity. There is a $0 labor cost adjustment, provided we receive the contract before the middle of April.
Okay.
You have plenty of time to gather proposals, make an informed decision, but I would advise you shoot for before the middle of April. It's cheaper. So on my list, I'm going to say $0 through April 14th. Everything else is included. Tax, permit fees, filing fees, everything.
Now describe the type of roof. How do you describe that roof?
This type of roofing will fall into several different categories. It is known as modified bitumen. It is known as built-up roofing. It's known as hot mop. It's known as roll roofing. It could be described in any of those realms.
Okay.
What we would do...
What about the foam? It's
the foam is the tapered system here. Okay?
Yeah.
That will add additional pitch, but again...
And so there you add the price. That's the one, yes.
If you determine that you have water up there for 48 hours, only then would be advised to add this.
Now, if there's one on it now, which there is, apparently, then would you take that off? Or would you leave it there and...
We would make all efforts to leave an existing layer in place. That is sometimes questionable, however.
Yes.
What is supposed to happen on the previous roof installation, that roofer should have applied a material that separates the foam from the roof membrane.
Yes.
If that's the case, then we can basically peel off the roofing membrane and leave that foam intact.
Great.
In some cases, however, they will torch or mop right onto the foam system. So now imagine gluing everything down to a relatively loose material. When they try and peel that off, it would tear apart that underlying product. In most situations, this would not be a problem. But if that is damaged to the point where it's simply not usable, these are the replacement numbers.
Okay.
If certain areas are salvageable, I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm going to use it. If we are able to salvage certain areas and not others.
It's warranted now so far, and they say it's okay now. So that means they've got to anticipate when that's going to, when this next phase is going to happen and need to happen. So because of the polyurethane roof that is currently there, that the warranty says it's okay. So that's the system
the area that I get concerned about is twofold. One is how the membrane is secured on top of that foam material.
Right.
If there is a separating layer, it should separate easily and be a non-issue. The other possibility, if there is any water intrusion, the foam material is very subject to water.
Yes.
A small amount of water getting through that system and down into the roof is going to deteriorate and damage big sections of the foam.
Of the foam, yes.
Imagine a sponge just soaking up that water.
You got it.
And it just will flake apart to nothing after that.
Which is the concerns that we have, and that's why we're,
we would apply a very similar approach to dealing with any foam deterioration as we would to any wood deterioration. If it's damaged, it is replaced at our cost. If it is intact, it will be used.
Okay, sounds good.
What you might do is budget for the worst case scenario. If you determine that you do not have ponding water problems, I would receive a contract that says do not add the tapering system. but in your budgeting,
Yes.
plan for some worst case scenarios.
Got
You
it.
have the numbers.
Got it. Very
Okay,
good.
with an expectation it would be less.
Well, thank you so much.
My
I appreciate
pleasure.
your time.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd give one closing comment.
Yes.
I am urging that you evaluate cost versus warranty. There are two warranties we're dealing with.
Okay.
The manufacturer's guarantee on the material. Duncan Roofs is offering either 20 or 25-year systems. Most will show 10 and 12. I know some that do 15. There is also the workmanship, the labor end of things.
Yes.
Most of what I see in this industry for flat roof materials will be 2 to 5 years on the workmanship. Duncan Roofs will guarantee the workmanship for the life of the roof. We will automatically show the 20-year system. I can change this to a 25. 20 or 25 years labor and material covered.
Wonderful. That's good. Very good.
I
Thank
could
you
talk
so
to them
much.
blue in the face, but my thought is get this to the correct
Signing off.
board.
Yes.
I'm happy to talk to anybody if you want me to come in and meet with a group of people or individuals, whatever makes sense for you.
No,
I'm happy to
that's
do it.
fantastic. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time.